All right, say hi. All right, we're getting dialed in here. We had to move because we ended up in a really windy spot. So, all right, are you on? Oh, we gotta have our moderator. All the fun trying to get this stuff dialed in here. We have a lot more equipment than we need to get. We have a lot of systems we have to upgrade, and we got to get Wi-Fi put in throughout the ranch and a bunch of boosters, and it's going to be quite the ordeal. So please, absolutely bear with us if you can. Appreciate it. All right. Are you getting dialed in there, babe? Oh, okay. watching, we're watching an ad on our own live stream. Perfect. Hey, there we are. Look at that. All right. Can you rotate so you can see your stuff better? What are you doing, Kona?
Actually, I can see. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. All right. All right. No one's with us yet, so we'll just kind of sit here and flap our neck until somebody decides to join us. So we're using these sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays to hopefully start connecting more with our audience, and we can answer your questions directly instead of always through the comment sections of our platforms. Yeah, we just have not been as good as we should be connecting with you folks out there. So this is our attempt at it. Bear with us as we struggle through, the learning the ropes. I'm not a techie guy. I'm really good at building stuff and breaking stuff. Those are my special powers. So, Joanna, hi. Hey, thanks for chiming in there. And Grammy Sue, hey, thanks for joining us. So, if you didn't hear any of my spiel, we're here for you guys Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to answer questions. So if you have anything for us, please feel free. Just drop them right here in the comment section, and we'll do our best. Yeah. So we're in this metamorphosis phase of our social media content creation, and we were very, very short centric shorts, like reels shorts, 60-second videos or less, and I think it allowed us to kind of crawl into a shell and not necessarily connect with you folks the way that we intended to or should. So that's kind of why we're here and what we're doing. So
So you have upcoming this week?
I have a lot going on. I'm supposed to meet with a manufacturer. We've got a little something in the works that we've been planning on bringing to the market. So we got some of that going on. That's been in development for, oh boy, almost a year right now. And so hopefully very soon we'll be able to show the world that. I'm really excited about it. It's taken a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of thought. It's really close to the reveal. So hopefully, somebody out there likes it. That's always the fear. Oh, look at this awesome thing I made that nobody likes. So we'll find out. Joanna, yeah. Been watching your channel is making sour. Oh, yeah, daughter-in-law. That's awesome. So you're making your sourdough starter. That's great. Yeah, Alana is, we didn't know this. When they moved down here, she has turned into quite the baker. I mean, she makes literally, I can say this, and I'm pretty critical of most things. She is, that's the best loaf of bread, honestly, I think I've ever had for sourdough. Hands down. It's unbelievable. She really, really has got it down. I don't know what she's doing that's so magic, but it's working really, really well. So, oh yeah, I'm sure people are going to be wondering what that is. Those are a couple of O-rings for hydraulic fitting, and I didn't want to lose them when I was at the auto parts, so now I'm wearing a, here, honey, you want to wed me? There we go. My rubber wedding rings. Oh, they're going to fall off there. I better not do that. Okay, so I got my big old paw here. I'm like blocking the camera. So, all right. Yeah, so let's see. So did you just make this starter, or how long have you had it? Is this something you've been working on for a while, or is it like something you just threw together today? I guess would be the question. I know that Alana's been working on her starter, and she's had it for quite some time, and it's excellent.
year.
It really is.
She's coming up on a year.
Is it a year? Okay. And oh my gosh, sourdough pancakes with just sourdough starter, unbelievable. Those are the best pancakes, hands down.
It's a great use for your discard.
Yes, just for this card. So I'm trying to. Oh, you kept killing it.
I've done that too, like twice.
Well, you know what? I would love to have some sort of useful input on that. I know nothing about sourdough other than it's a living culture, and that's about it. And I really like it. I can tell you that. So, all right. So, who's all watching this? If anybody out there is just lurking about, if you don't mind just chiming in, let us know who's over there. Oh, Ken. Hey, Ken. Thanks for tuning into us. So I'll keep repeating myself because a lot of people kind of keep coming in and out. But, you know, again, we're doing this to reach out to you folks about connecting, being able to Q&A with us. So we get lots and lots of questions in the comments, and I can't always get to them. It's really difficult, and you know, it's very impersonal anyway. So we'd like to get in front of you and just chat, see where we're at. Are you doing okay back there? She wouldn't stay home. I can't even keep her at home now because I started working her on the calves. So every time we come up the hill, there she is. Oh, she just has to go everywhere Daddy goes now. Isn't that right, you little devil? Yeah, she's a fur missile. She absolutely loves. She loves working the cattle. Cicadas. No, not yet. But I hear we're supposed to have a really bad year. So my wife is extremely happy. How much do you like cicadas, babe?
I don't like cicadas.
Joe, no, what's the other term you would use for cicadas?
Alien bugs.
Or how do you feel about cicadas?
I hate them.
She hates them. She doesn't use that word very often. She hates cicadas.
They're noisy.
She gets this incessant, like, kind of like ringing in the ears, you know, people that have, what's that called?
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus. Her tinnitus is the air conditioner in the motorhome and the bugs and even the frogs. Because if you go from the peeper frogs in the spring and the cicadas come in right on the heels of it, if you have a wet spring, the peeper frog is really loud. Then it's pretty much just nonstop noise for her, but I kind of like it. It's white noise. And
I don't mind the peeper frogs. It's when the bugs start going, and then the air conditioner's going, and then there's no place anywhere that's quiet.
Suits me
It's a
fine.
little rough.
Suits me fine. I would just figure you'd love it because you're not gonna, you wouldn't have to hear me as much. Kind of drown me out a little bit.
I don't know if they're that loud.
Yeah, once in a lifetime event. So yeah, it's gonna be traumatic, Jack. It will be for her. Everybody in my family claims that I'm deaf. They're like, oh, you wouldn't know. Actually, I can hear a mosquito fart at like 1,000 yards. I have really good hearing, but I just have amazing 26 years, almost 26 years of marriage, selective hearing. So there's a certain frequency that I'm able to
My frequency. It's my frequency
tune
that
out.
he can't hear, right?
It's an acquired skill. It's a perishable skill too, so you have to practice. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. After the camera goes off, I might not be smiling so much.
Our 8-year-old is really excited to see the new bugs.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're going to be bug hunting once they arrive.
Well, and you know, all these things to us are still very new, being, you know, Northerners, Pacific Northwest to be exact, Idaho and Alaska. So cicadas, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know they existed. They're, yeah, like a cross between a locust and the world's largest housefly I've ever seen. So there's been all kinds of wonderful things. Like until we moved here, I'd never seen an armadillo in my life. Never. Opossums. We didn't have opossums. Raccoons, we had a few. They're very, very few.
I like the armadillos.
Yeah, I don't really mind them, other than when they start really tearing up my pastures. They're not too bad. The groundhogs are terrible. So, let's see here. So today on the ranch, started out like every other day, pretty much. And then everything kind of just started going wrong. One of those days, stuff kept breaking, things kept leaking. So I've been working on the 60 acres next door, the kids' property. Getting all the saplings mowed out, and yeah, it just kept breaking. So didn't really get anything done today, but I did a lot of driving, a lot of searching, and a lot of cussing. Yeah, that's pretty much been my day. All right. So who we got on the chat right now? I know we only have a few people in with us. Anybody else out there lurking? So, anything you guys have questions about, being, whether it be construction, the way we ranch, the way we handle our animals, animal husbandry, pasture management, that's a big one. I'm actually really passionate about the agricultural side. Construction and building things is kind of old hat for me, which is fine, and I enjoy it, but I'm definitely really interested in dirt. Dirt and all the bugs and creatures in it. So that's our really big focus has been since we got here. Hi, Grandma Jane. Oh, Grandma's here. Since we got here, I've been putting probably a lot more effort into the land than my wife might want me to. She might want me to get the house finished. I bet that's what she's secretly hoping for, but she doesn't complain. And we've gone and done some crazy things in the past, and she's happy to go along. So, but yeah, we put a lot of emphasis on our farm here, ranch. So we use that term around here real loosely. I'll throw that out. And I guess what I mean by that, most people who consider themselves farmers, which I am both, because I consider myself some aspiring stockman. We have some pretty good experience with horses, and but it really boils down to it, I guess, which you could slice it up this way. And I guess I'm actually farmer first, because we put more emphasis on our soil health and our land health, and that goes above everything else. That is priority number one, and then everything after that. And the reason for that is, if you take care of your land and you take care of your soil, and what I mean by that is just don't poison it and don't abuse it. Don't overgraze it. Don't take more from it than you give back to it. If you manage your land properly, it'll take care of your animals. You'll have healthy animals, healthy land, healthy animals, healthy humans. And so that's how we see it. So I'm really a grass farmer first, but I use all my livestock to manage that grass. So think of it as biological lawnmowers is what we're kind of doing, right? And nutrient cycling. So Jack, I'm a gardener, so I have the same weird interests. Have y'all done any soil tests to compare what's happening with your intensive grass grazing? Yes, actually. So we took samples when we initially got here. When we first got the farm, we took a bunch of samples, sent them off. And they were terrible. Absolutely. The pH was way low, down in the low 5s, some in the high 4s. And we'll, at some point, we'll bring those up, and we'll show you guys, when I get someone that's a little more tech savvy than me, we'll get something up there for you, and maybe do a side-by-side comparison. As we've transitioned, we've done 3 individual soil tests out here across the farm. I probably pulled somewhere around 200 cores, and then roughly about 11 composites throughout the farm ranch. And yes, we are improving. We're not improving as much as I would think by looking at it. On paper, we're not improving our ground as fast as we are visually. So our pH corrections have been mild, but you got to remember that the pH scale is logarithmic. So, right, for every point, it's actually a multitude of 10. So, I guess we could say that we have increased our pH. So we have moved toward neutral times more than where we were. So yes, it's getting much better. Yes, we're getting the correct blade color growth, and the nutrients are finally becoming bioavailable. So we will get to that. We're going to definitely do some before and afters and kind of show you folks where the farm started and where we're at now. And you know, when you're a farmer, you're never happy. I mean, let me rephrase, you're never happy with the progress you've made because you always want more, right? If you're a corn farmer and you've got 10-foot tall corn and you got whatever 100 and something 105 bushels an acre, next year you want 110, right? So but really looking at where we started and where we're at, it's huge. So we're actually able to grow some grass. Now if you look here in the background, you're going to see some broom sedge. This is actually one of the worst spots on the whole farm, but it's also one of the quietest when it comes to the wind. So that's why we're tucked up in this little hole. Yeah, we're gonna actually do some, I'm gonna have to figure out my technical issues with filming and streaming, because we're streaming everything cellularly right now because I don't have Wi-Fi on this side of the ranch. So we kind of have to be careful where we do it live. Now we're going to continue making videos and producing content like we kind of always have, and we are working on getting out 2 longer form content videos every single week for you folks. We've been really bad. We admit, we apologize about not getting out the content regularly. So we're working on that. It is in the works. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. And Tristan, my son, that does all our editing, he's pretty much buried every day. So we are putting it out about as fast as we can currently, but it's going to get better. We're considering bringing on an additional team member that's outside of the family, but very close friendship. And I think they're going to help us wade through some of those difficulties. So at any rate, that's where we're at with that. So I guess this question then would be for Jack. What do you garden? Is it typical, like a produce garden, a salsa garden? Do you do it in a large quantity? Are you on a postage stamp? What are you doing out there as far as your style of gardening? And do you soil test? Would be my question back to you. So
This week is kind of a slow week for our building world because
yeah,
what we're working on right now is the in-laws' house, and they are out of town for a wedding.
well, that's very loosely said.
I don't work on
I
it.
haven't
They
been
work
even helping on it. So Elliot has been helping Grandpa like
The boys have
every
been
day.
helping him a lot.
Austin's done a little bit, but yeah, Elliot for the most part, you know, he's been over there just slaving away. So they're getting close. They got the house wrapped up. At least it's dried in. The roof and the porch and the patios aren't quite done yet, but we're getting to it. Back
So
to you.
here we are about ready to start planting for our garden space. And we'll be playing around a little bit more with that this week. Just our smaller garden that's up near where all of our stuff is. And then we're going to be trying some things out on our big garden that we're
Yes.
still waiting on because we
Oh yeah.
made some decisions that will hopefully pay off in the long run, but right now are causing us some grief as far as growing goes in
Oh,
our
yeah.
really big garden. So
Yeah, so for any of you folks that haven't seen or followed us along on that portion, so I excavated out and I wanted to find all the big rocks. So our property, if you've ever been in the Ozarks, you would understand that about 90% of everything you stand on top of is rock. I mean, it is rocky. But we're very fortunate enough to have some bottom ground, that there is some nice loam and silt bottom. And all the topsoil that used to be on top of these hills is down there, or what was left of it, and the rest of it's probably in the Gulf of Mexico, washed away due to erosion. Well, so there's some good soil down there. We excavated it out, found all the rocks, and then I incorporated like 200 yards of decomposed sawdust. Now, only slightly. I'm going to call it rotted, not decomposed. So it wasn't completely composted, but it was very bacterial dominant. I mean, that's all it was. And it was, I think for the most part, totally anaerobic. So we imported all that, knowing that it was going to make and create a massive terrible nitrogen lockup situation. And it did, and it is, and it will persist until we can get some more nitrogen in there to help that process. So we're looking at some options, possibly importing a lot of chicken litter. Well, there's a lot of big chicken barns in this part of the world, especially down from Arkansas, so we can get about 30 tons of it delivered. And it's super high nitrogen, right? So there's obviously potassium and phosphorus in it. Also, we can always go the route of the poison magic pellets, you know. Everybody's, I prefer not to use chemical fertilizers of any kind, but if we have to use it to get us to that end goal, we will. Joanna, you have a small kitchen garden. All right, you know what? Any garden's better than no garden. Big garden's currently limited. Purple whole peas, okay, corn and potatoes. This is because our 75 acres is basically just sand. Oh, geez. Okay. Where are you? What part of the world are you in where you're just all sand? And I can tell you this. Anything you can do, and you might already know this, so I apologize if I'm preaching to the choir. Any sort of carbon additions you can do to your soil, you're going to build your humus. And if you build your humus and carbon additions, you will retain moisture like crazy. So, are you? I don't know, but sand. Oh, there you go. Yep, Texas. Deep East Texas. Well, never been there. I'm sorry you have all sand. That's terrible. That is tough. That is tough. So I have a cousin who lives in Northern California, and I'm going to call him right after this and yell at him because he's supposed to be watching this. Dan. Just kidding. He's an almond farmer. They call them almonds as the tree, and it's on the tree, and when it's off the tree, it's an almond. So he lives in very, very sandy country, and I've been harping on him because he does have many hundreds of yards of wood chips, and I think most of it's ramial wood chips. And I've been telling him, man, put some of your orchard and get some of those wood chips on there to see how much more water retention you can get and additional nutrient input. We have done that and practiced that, you know, Paul Gauci, back to Eden style gardening. And I'll tell you what, the first year, second year, okay, not bad. And third year was like magic. The stuff just blew up. So I'm a big, big believer in covering your soil and carbon additions. With enough carbon, it kind of fixes everything else. You know, it helps bring and buffer pHs back to normal ranges. Water retention, nutrient retention, lots and lots of good things happen. So if you can do any incorporating, but I would definitely try to avoid, once you start getting living soil, this is the tough thing. So you're going to end up in this catch-22, constantly chasing your tail, if you're growing cover crops and tilling them in. So, because it's great that you're putting carbon in your soil, but the problem is you're destroying the life and the very complex inner workings of that soil, right? One of the biggest probably is going to be, I mean, aside from microbes and worms, and is going to definitely be your mycelium. So your mycelium is what basically is your inner web that connects everything under soil, and it transports nutrients. So it's tough not to till. I used to be a till guy. I till every year. I put a bunch of stuff on the garden and till it, and I grew some pretty awesome tomatoes. Okay, not the best, but definitely better than most.
The best in our neighborhood.
Oh, for sure. Right. Okay. Fair enough. But every time you do that, let's use the analogy. It's like some titan coming in to some massive city. All right. So remember, there's more life under our feet than there is above. So taking, say, New York City, and some massive creature coming in and tearing that whole place apart, turning it upside down and grinding it up, and then going, all right, my work here is done. Now proliferate, go. You know, it takes a really long time for that to build back and start getting a system going again. So that's what happens every time we till. And that's backed by science. That's not just some crazy, weird farmer here on YouTube talking to you. No-till is becoming way more prevalent. So something you also have to consider when you till, you can also volatilize your carbon. So it's kind of like this catch-22. You're putting carbon in, but as you're putting carbon in, you're also losing the carbon. So, you know, it's, if you can do the chop and drop, you know, if you grow a cover crop, you can also do the blanket method. So you grow a cover crop and then you kill everything underneath it, but just let it mat down, and that'll give you a nice natural mulch. You know, a lot of folks will use rye. There's oats. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but do your best to avoid tilling your soil and try and do your emissions just to the surface. That would be my advice. I know that was a really long-winded answer to a simple question, but that's what you get out of me. You ask me a question, I'm going to talk for 20 minutes. Let's see. All right. Oh, Jack, yeah, you do soil tests every now and then. Every 3 years. Okay. Yep. And you help your dad and grandfather grow winter and summer squash, all salsa garden, plants, greens and root crops, as well as fruit trees, blackberries and strawberries and other stuff. Okay, yeah. Just a nice, sounds like a really nice, you know, family garden. And we're getting there. I really feel like with the current situation, everything in the world and how insane it is, that we should probably be dropping most of what we're doing and spending most all, if not all, of our efforts into, you know, some sort of a food system. I mean, I highly recommend it. I think to rely on our betters and rely on supply chains, and that's a big deal. Right? We need to be a little more self-reliant as a whole, as a nation, as a people. You know, it's just so weird to think that this is where the world's gone at this point, where everybody's relying on. I mean, if the truck gets a flat tire, you starve. Like, that's just kind of weird to me. It got normalized, right? So I think we all need to do a better job of growing as much as we can for ourselves, preserving and canning and putting things up, growing your own meat if you can. If you live, you know, in an apartment patio, well, you're not going to be a farmer, but you could at least have a few patio tomatoes, or, you know, anything. Something's better than nothing, always. So I'm kind of a big advocate for that. So we really here should probably be putting more effort into making sure that our garden is really kicking butt. You know, that's important. We put that big cold storage. I don't want to get called out by anybody for calling it a root cellar, because a root cellar is supposed to have high humidity, but or root cellar for canning. You know, we can put, I did the calculation, I can put 6,400 quarts of food in there. Well, we should do that. So we really need to be working toward a goal instead of just constantly, like I feel like we are right now, working on all these other projects, and kind of slow down, focus. Why are we here? What are we doing? Let's get back to that. And what we are here doing is doing something that's been a lifelong passion, but also, you know, food security, knowing where it comes from, what's in it. And, you know, our animals here, they live the best life. They live the absolute best life that we can possibly give them, right into their very last second. So, our steers that we put in the freezer this last fall, those steers, you know, they were very fortunate. They won the lottery. They were out here being moved every day to brand new pasture, very low stress environment, very low stress stockmanship. So we don't use horses. We don't use our horses to move our cattle. I only work this little demon here. Kona, come here. Come here. Oh, good girl. That one. On the calves when they're getting out, just kind of get her a little more tuned up and keep the calves in. You know, they're slipping out under the wire, and that's fine. They're training to it. They're learning. Yeah, you know, it's those animals, right until the lights turned off, they had the best life. So that's what we're all about here, trying to provide more for ourselves and really give the animals that are on our ranch absolute best life they can have. I don't believe in causing animals any undue stress or harm whatsoever. Even if they're total dickhead animals. Some are, and you'll want to just smack them across the head with a T-post. But you know, they're just being animals. So as growers, as producers, we got to get better, I think, as a whole, of handling these animals and make them lower stress. It's better for the end consumer. You have a higher quality meat. It's better for the producer. You're going to have better daily gains, and it's better for the animal. So I feel like it's just a win-win. Let's see. Yes, Jack, we have the other livestock that we currently have is just chickens. We have chickens, dogs, cattle, and horses.
Dogs are livestock.
Oh, when you have as many as us, they're livestock, and they eat like it too. Oh my gosh, we're down to 6. We have 6 dogs right now, and then my son and daughter-in-law are really hot and bothered to get sheep, so we might be jumping off of that cliff and getting into sheep. No, I'm making fun of it, but honestly, I've been wanting sheep, and that's part of this style of grazing system. It's kind of important to bring them on. So, you know, the neat thing about running sheep behind your cattle or in front of them, or however you choose to run them or with them, is that they're end hosts for each other's parasites. So they can consume each other's parasites, and the parasite dies or it just passes through them. It doesn't affect them. So that's part of the system, and they have very different and varying diets, right? So kind of like a goat does, right? A goat will walk by the most lush clover to go chew on an old stick, right? That's what they like. They're more of a browser. The sheep will definitely eat your clover, but they'll also hammer, you know, like some of the buckbrush and roses, multiflora roses. We have a ton of those here. Now, I'm not a hater on them. I know a lot of folks are, and they want every single one dead, but I'm kind of more the mindset, you know what, manage them, keep them under control, don't let them go crazy on your land, and use them as really good, you know, wildlife habitat. You know, they're great. So having rabbits on your land, that's part of the ecosystem. They need a habitat. We really want to see the quail come back to this land. This whole part of Missouri, maybe Missouri as a whole, has seen a massive decline in the bobwhite quail. And that's due to management practices and habitat destruction. No matter it be houses or subdivisions, I'm not necessarily saying that, but just the practices of losing all of our warm season grasses that were native to this area. And now we've gone to this really heavily dominant fescue system. And fescue doesn't allow them to have that place to hide, that place to move freely below a 6-foot tall stand or sward of grass. So they've lost their habitat. They haven't been breeding well, and there's really no forage and feed. So those are some of the things we're working on here to hopefully see again. Honestly, since I've been in Missouri, I haven't even seen a quail. Not one. There's people around here that have told, oh, yeah, I saw some quail the other day. I haven't seen them yet. So we're in a quail desert where we're currently at with our ranch. Hopefully, if we make the conditions right, we catch a stray covey and they decide to, you know, set up shop here. So unfortunately, it's been suggested before when I've said something about that, oh, you know, get them from a hatchery. Well, the only problem is they won't naturalize, and they will not become wild, and they will just die. It's almost like a 0% success rate, from what I understand, for planting non-native quail, so hatchery raised quail. They just don't have the instinct to survive. They aren't taught by the parent, the adult quail, how to forage, how to hunt, how to roost, how to hide, none of that. They just die. So you say you come out here on this land and we put, you know, let's say 2,000 quail out there. I think all that we would have is a bunch of predators for a very short period of time, and then they'd be gone, and that would be that. What are you doing, brushing ticks off me?
No, it's just a bug.
Well, if it was a tick, it'd only be like the 14th one I've dug off me today. So yeah, we're, again, keep saying it, hence the name Tick Creek Ranch. It's ticky here. It is ticky. It's getting much better. Jack, have you ever considered tree fodder? What type of grass are you all putting in then? Okay, so what we have here is it's just what we bought with the land. And what we have here is a cool season grass, dominant pasture. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have warm season grasses. We definitely do. And you can see some of the worst warm season grasses. That's an indicator of poor soil health is broom sedge. Around here, they call it sagegrass. Broom sedge is just an indicator that you have really poor soil, low fertility, and also very acidic. So our broom sedge is a warm season grass. It is slightly palatable when it's very juvenile, you know, something like this. As soon as it starts to bolt to go to seed, they don't touch it. I mean, they will not touch it. If you put them in really tight, really dense, they will graze it when it's young. So that's one of the warm season grasses. We have some switchgrass on the ranch. We have some purple top tritons. We have, we saw our first big blue stem here last year, a couple. We have a little bit of little blue stem, and we have some Indian grass. So we have no gamma grass. I haven't even seen gamma grass here anywhere. So
Bermuda grass.
yes, we have Bermuda, but I don't want Bermuda. Yeah, no thanks. I don't like that low-lying creepy stuff. No, honestly, my cattle, they'll walk over that to go bite anything else. They're not even that excited about it. What are you doing there, girlfriend? Dog's taking off.
Kona.
So really, if you want to get your warm season grasses back, although a lot of people will tell you that grass seed, and it's not untrue, has not a very great lifespan, grass seed. It's very soft hold, as opposed to, say, like a legume, maybe, let's say clover, right? A clover seed, that can sit dormant in your soil for eons. So I'm sure our warm season grass seed bank is very deplete, but there is some in there, and we have seen some. We have seen some start to show up. So that being said, the way to encourage your warm season grasses is to get them to not die. And the reason I'm not certain, but I don't think anybody went out, or not anybody, very few people went out and just sprayed Roundup on their fields because they wanted fescue. They just started planting fescue, and then their grazing management was tailored more toward fescue, because fescue is very popular because it has really great winter stockpile ability. It's high protein, it's fairly palatable, and the animals will thrive on it in the winter. It handles really great, it does really good on heavy grazing pressure, what's considered heavy grazing pressure. It's fairly drought tolerant, and it's hard as hell to kill. So a lot of people went to that. The biggest problem with the fescue is that it also has an associated endophyte, right? And that endophyte creates an ergoalkaloid. And that alkaloid is highly toxic to herbivores, well, ruminants in particular. So horses, it causes foaling issues, it'll cause stillbirths, they won't, you'll have gigantic foals that you might not even be able to birth. They get oversized during foaling. Lactation issues for the mare. It can cause a myriad of problems. In cattle, heat intolerance, loss of circulation in extremities, typically hind left foot and tails. Really super extreme cases, the cattle can lose all their hooves, meaning you have a dead cow. Their tails can slip, their ears can fall off. So there's a whole myriad of problems associated with fescue. Poor daily gain. You'll see what's called the summer slump. That's when the fescue is kind of in full tilt boogie as far as its poisonous aspects of it. And it really starts climbing in potency. So during the summer, you lose a lot of gain in animal performance. Plus, your animals are super under stress. It's bad stuff. We fought it last year. We weren't smart enough or experienced enough to notice or recognize the early signs of it, and we actually had a steer slip a tail. We had a couple of heifers go lame, and they're left swelling, right? Like I at least caught on to it. I'm a little slow, but I eventually caught on to it, and we finally understood what happened and why it happened, and oh man, it was a bit of a learning curve. So if you want more warm season grasses, you got to manage for them. meaning longer rest periods. I mean, really, that's kind of it. So a warm season grass is going to probably, in most situations, need a recovery period that's twice as long as your cool season grasses, maybe 3 or 4 times longer. Well, in modern grazing, that's unacceptable. Most people are like, no way, I'm not going to let my pasture rest for 120 days. What are you talking about? How can we get any productivity out of it? Well, you can, and I'm no expert on it, but the research I'm doing, there's actually a program out there now that I'm very interested in. I want to see it actually with my own eyes and implement it here, because I don't believe anything until I actually do it. So we've experimented a ton in the last couple of years, and I can tell you the number one thing that we've seen that helps our pastures the most impactful and dramatic change isn't really even lime or fertilizer or massively heavy impactful grazing or name it, it's rest. The best pastures we have around here have the longest rest periods. End of story. For us, that's what we're seeing. So it's kind of amazing how nature has this strange way in God's design. If you stop messing with it, and quit intervening constantly, it has a way of kind of correcting itself quite rapidly. So that's, it's the warm season grasses, the native warm season grasses that built all the topsoil in the Great Plains, because they had roots that went down 10, 20 feet. And that put all that carbon exudate in the soil. So they didn't get all that carbon in the ground from the surface, stomping in poop and matting down grass. It didn't get 8 feet deep because of that. It got really deep because it had grasses that didn't die, and they lived for eons, and they had massive root systems, and they had super long rest periods. So the resting period is what really starts building the soil. That's the science behind it. That's what I'm a firm believer in, because I've seen it with my own eyes. But until I actually practice it, it's hypothetically sounds really good. So we're going to move forward with that. We're going to try some of this stuff and do some test paddocks, pastures. I might even go as radical as resting one half of my farm and let it stockpile the whole year. We're going to see. We're going to do a bunch of crazy stuff out here and just see how it goes. All right. So that was a really long-winded answer. So I apologize. Don't ask me questions if you don't want to hear me talk for 20 minutes. Okay, what we got here? What we got? Where are we at? Did I lose it? I've lost track. Oh, someone called us cuties.
That was a llama.
I know. Yes, guineas are good tick eaters, and
I love them.
She
I want
loves
them
them.
all of them.
They're so annoying. The neighbors have a pile of them over here, and I was on the backside. Oh, I don't know, about a quarter mile that way, and they were just making a racket. I can't stand it. But I mean, if I'm not digging ticks off my butt, I guess they're probably an option.
We had 2 pair that showed up here. I think they came from a neighbor's house somewhere down the road, maybe.
Yeah, and they're
Our first year here, and I thought they were fabulous.
If you think turkeys are dumb,
Weston,
my gosh,
and they did all
those
4
things.
get hit on the right way.
All 4 of those things died within like a week. They don't really have a great instinct to survive. So maybe they got out of somebody's pen. All right, but yes, I hear guineas are good at that. But to that note, I'm also very, very interested in quail, because if you have 300, 400, 500 quail on your land, imagine how many ticks they could eat. I'm kind of excited about that. I've had some folks comment and said, that they started managing different. They had a bunch, and this was actually in Texas. So they had a bunch of ticks in a certain area or on their ranch, and they started managing different, and they started having a bunch of quail show up. And they said as soon as they had coveys of quail consistently roaming around, they said their tick population was just gone. So, I mean, I get that's something we're hoping to get to, where we can at least hurt the population. We've considered burning, which is so foreign to us, being from the Northwest. You don't intentionally light fires up there. That's insanity.
You don't light anything on
What
fire.
are you
up there.
doing? I mean, a birthday candle in July? You're insane. No. Put it out of the fire extinguisher. So there's a big difference between a conifer forest and a deciduous forest. So we're used to conifers. And boy, I'll tell you what, a coniferous fire, if you've ever seen one, they're shocking, 100-foot tall flames. Here, you see people just light the forest on fire, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? and then I go, oh, that's right. The horses are going to burn. So anyway, we've considered burning our leaf litter, doing some of that stuff, but for the most part, I guess I'm just going to pull ticks off myself. I just can't seem to bring myself to light my ranch on fire. I just can't. I don't know. It's going to take time. I'm going to have to get this southern thing down. Yes. Oh, I think Joanna said I'm very loud.
You are very
No, I know. The guineas. I am very loud. I'm sorry.
The guineas are very loud.
Oh yeah. Alana and Austin say, I think we should get some guineas and not tell Wes.
Yes.
Yeah, I won't know that you got guineas,
And
at least for the
emails.
first 30 seconds until they start going, or whatever they do. It's terrible. Sounds like something's dying. Come here, Kona. Sorry. My dog is
Wandering onto the
Adventurous.
neighbor's property.
adventurous, which isn't the end of the world.
So, do you have
Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's you. I was reading your comment. All right.
No, Wes does not have a degree in agronomy.
Oh, no.
He is just
I'm
a
sorry, where was that?
fanatical researcher.
Hold on. Don't tell them that. I might be able to trick them. Oh, I don't have a degree in anything. If there was a degree that I would go after, it'd probably be a BS and BS. So, no, I'm just a fanatical researcher. I'll be perfectly transparent. Although my parents might argue this point, I literally had about an official 6th grade education. At that point, I completely lost interest in school. I ended up transferring to a school where I grew up, and it was full of a lot of bad kids, and there was some gang activity, and I hated it. And from that moment forward, I hated school. So I didn't really do much from then on out. And then when I finally entered my early 20s, I just had this insatiable urge to learn things. And so I just devoured information as much as I could. And then that kind of carried on for many years. And then when I was in the oil field, I ended up becoming a remote supervisor in the Arctic. And I was out in a pretty remote place on a little tiny island offshore in the Arctic. So as you can imagine, if we were on standby, there's nothing to do. So I would just read and read and read and read. And yeah, I don't know, devour five or 600 pages a day. And I don't know, I like to learn stuff, you know, if it's in my wheelhouse. And so luckily I ended up kind of literate, and I'm able to formulate somewhat of a sentence. So
I think you're
no,
sufficiently literate.
no, formal education, not a whole lot. We're really big. I'm not saying anybody out there with a formal education, I'm not going to look down on anybody, but we're really, really big on blue collar skills, working with our hands. And you know, if you have the desire, you can learn anything in this day and age. Maybe 20 years ago it was a little harder. You know, you had to go to a library. Now, if you want to know something, all you got to do is pick this up. You have no excuses. So anybody out there that doesn't know anything, or my kids come up and ask me something, I'm like, really? You hunted me down to ask me that question when you have the Oracle in your pocket? Really? I mean, you could have taken like 13 seconds to do a tiny bit of research, and you probably could have found a book on it, and you could have read, you know. So, yeah, this day and age, we're very, very blessed to have technology, although it is also kind of a curse at the same time. So, let's see, where are we at now? Rural man life. That's what, okay,
who
yep.
asked you.
Sorry, I missed it. Thanks, Rural Man Life. Good question. Sorry, I could have told you something like, yeah, I graduated from the, I don't know, Texas A&M back in, no, I didn't. Like I said, I got a BS and BS. Oh, Rob, hey. Yep, there you are. Just finished work. What do you do? What do you do for work, if you don't mind me asking? And if you have answered that before, I should know that. I totally apologize. You might have told me. I'm working on the memory. Maybe I need to get some of those old man supplements. You got any of those for me?
I'm sure you can come up with some.
Love the channel. Hey, thanks. We appreciate it. We really do. And again, for anybody who's just jumping in, you You know, we're just trying to build a little community here with like-minded people. So I've said this before in a prior live. I don't know, we never really have fit totally in anywhere we've ever gone. We're kind of a little weird, you know. We I don't know, just think different and active. You are weird. You're married to me and you decided to go do all this crazy shit with me. So that by proxy makes you crazy and weird.
My mom says it's okay as long as we're crazy together.
That's right. That's the secret. That's the secret sauce right there. So yeah, this isn't the first time we've lived in a motorhome.
Probably won't be our last.
Really? You
Kona!
promise?
I'm sure.
So-
we'll go somewhere else, I'm sure.
We
eventually.
we moved to Alaska in a motorhome. Didn't know where we were going or what we were
Kona.
doing. We just what? She's fine. She's just gonna go collect ticks. We moved to Alaska in a motorhome with 5 children, an old crappy minivan, and a car hauler trailer. That's it. Get down. Thank you. So but we only lived in a motorhome at that point for like, what, 4 months? 5 months? 5 months?
No.
Spring.
Yeah, 5
5
months.
months, yeah. Now we're like, got a couple of years under our belt. She is gonna kill me. But, you know, my grass is really important. Sorry, babe.
It's okay.
No, we're making it happen. We're gonna make it happen. But you know, when you're building stuff, cash, out of pocket, the whole thing, sometimes stuff goes really slow, you know. So we didn't want to take and go back into a bunch of debt and have that burden, you know. So now we just have to worry about walking really gently when Dad's in the motorhome because he'll yell at you if you're shaking a whole bunch. That's reality. I'm actually a psychopath. I can't stand people stomping around the motor. So, rural man life. All right. Oh yeah. Hey, want to do a collab sometime? I grew up on a high production tomato and grain crop in North California. Awesome. Thanks, rural man life. So, maybe no. Yeah, you did. You did.
On our first one.
So, what were you? What part of California were you in at that time? If you don't mind me asking. I have a cousin who's just north of Sacramento, and he's growing almonds. I might have said that. You might have
You
been
did.
here for that. I know, but I don't know if he was on. So yeah, I've got the camera flipped the correct way this time, so hopefully it's a little clearer. And something else, let us know if on your end, I mean, it looks okay here, if the quality is okay. So we've been struggling with that. So I'll say again, we are streaming this live through cellular data. So anytime there's a little blip, it might get really fuzzy and grainy. So we apologize for that. We have a plan in place to hopefully really upgrade our hardware and our connectivity to high speed instead of going cellular. So some of this stuff's in the works. We're hopefully going to be upgrading our cameras, all kinds of stuff. So we have literally done all of our YouTube activity, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, all of them with only iPhones thus far. So we feel very blessed to have built the following that we have in that short period of time, about 15, 16 months. But I think it's probably time we upgrade maybe some DSLR cameras or something. We have been looking at them. But then again, I hardly know enough about them. I don't even know. I mean, I could point it in a direction. So I'm going to have to get someone a lot smarter when it comes to technology than me. After I just gave that big fat spiel about, I do lots of research.
He doesn't like technology. That's why he doesn't research it.
I,
He researches enough to know little bits about what he needs to know, and then he tries to find somebody else to do the rest.
yeah, I got things to do. I got pastures to mow and cattle to move and things to build. And I don't have time to sit down and do all this stuff. So, sorry.
That's why you have teenagers and young adults.
Yep,
Yeah.
well, I do. We have a gaggle of kids here, and everybody contributes a bunch. You've seen my daughters. My oldest daughter, she's married and now currently living with her new husband off the ranch. They're just down, about a 25-minute drive. And she still, bebops around, comes around and hangs out. So you'll still see some content from her and Trinity. As far as short content goes, people really love it when they go out and do their little moving animals and all that stuff. And then my oldest son, again, Austin, I'll tell you, he's been doing like our merchandise that's in our store. He did all the graphic design work on the hats, and I think I've showed this before. The custom sweat stain, the ones in the stores don't have that. And Grayson, the youngest, he's our resident fisherman, so that's how he contributes. The bail and roller, he demonstrated the bail and roller for everybody out there.
He's good at that.
Yeah, he bragged for a long time. He's like, I'm the most popular. I got 20 million views, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, he's pretty proud of that.
And he's our current resident factoid king.
Yeah, you want to know anything about any animal?
8.
Yep, if it's a lizard or it slithers or, yeah, he knows everything about that. And Elliot, he's carpenter, leather worker. He's got some content out there. Tristan, he's the behind the scenes dude. He's not in much content because he's always buried just editing. Who am I missing? Trinity. Hello, Wes. Trinity is our horse wrangler, and she is the #1 go-to person for all things livestock on the ranch right now. So she's my little minion. We go do everything together. I think she hates it half the time because I'm there nitpicking her. No, do it like this. Don't do that. No, they need a bigger area. No, they need a smaller area. So, but we're learning together. We're learning to work together.
And she's an awful lot like her daddy, so.
Oh yeah. A little bit of a pistol. Wait, me? No. Don't let her fool you.
Your dog is running away.
Perfect. Bye. Come here, Kona. This damn dog. Really? You gotta do this. Whistling. I'm whistling on the live stream. Hey, get my dog over here.
Well, she's taken off into the trees on the neighbor's property.
Come here, girl. She's scared of game. She sees a squirrel. She's got to eat it. She's got to have it. There you go.
You are
Come
naughty.
on. Yeah, well, she can't hear.
Trying
She's
really hard
up in
not
that
to
windy
listen.
area, so. Oh, okay. Davis and Woodland in Yolo County, west of Sac. Okay, so you guys are actually really close. I can't for the life of me remember where he's at, but there's just like this one little mountain that sticks out of the flats with nothing around it. He lives right at the foot of that. You probably know where that's at.
No.
Let's see. Bus driver. Where have you been driving? Oh, there it is, right there. Airport, 25 years. Oh man, you must really love people or really hate people at this point in your life. I couldn't do it, so power to you. I couldn't do it. We left the city. I can't ever go back. I can't even. I go to Springfield, which is a drop in the bucket really compared to the amount of people where we moved from that moved in anyway. And I just can't do it. It's so, I feel overwhelmed and like the walls are closing in and there's so much going on. People are so aggressive and drive so fast and people are rude, and that's just not me. I guess I'm too much of an old soul when it comes to that, I like considerate, slow drivers and people that hold doors open for you and say pleasantries and smile or wave, not the get the hell out of my way. I just can't do it. So I know a lot of folks live in cities and don't choose to. I know a lot of folks live in the country and don't choose to. It's just where you're at. It's what you're born into, so. But a little effort and a little determination. Don't forget, if you don't want to be there, you can always make change. We did. We had somebody say, I've had some people comment like, must be nice to be born into that. It's like, well, we weren't born into it. We've had help along the way. We've had a ton of help. People have helped us. That's what family does, right? Amazing help. Wonderful family help. But if we didn't have a dream, it never would have happened anyway. If we would have just been sitting around like lumps on a log, you gotta have a dream and you gotta go for it. You really do. You gotta take some chances. You gotta be willing to go live in a damn motorhome in the middle of the Ozarks, picking ticks off your ass, running cattle, building houses from scratch with lumber that you milled. I mean, you got to take some chances sometimes. So, you know, whatever. It's one life you get to live. You better have some fun and enjoy it, or do something ridiculous and crazy. So you got a good story at the end to tell when you're dying. You know, that's kind of how I look at it. Oh.
You're at an hour.
See that? Unbelievable. That has been an hour. I can't believe it. So I was like, well, I don't even know what to talk about tonight. It'll probably only be like 10 minutes that I'll be able to fill. And then once I get the lube going, man, just the lips are flapping. I can just keep talking and talking. So, well, we'll, what I'll do is I'll give you guys, we'll just hang out here for another minute or two. If you guys have anything else. Sutter Buttes. You got it. That's it. Absolutely. Yes, that is exactly where he is. Sutter County, smallest mountain range in the world. That's right. Yeah, he lives right like almost in it. Like it's kind of almost like a dish, right? Kind of concave or whatever from my recollection. I've been there once. And yeah, he's got like 40 acres just right in it. About his house on his porch. I mean, he's looking right at that thing. It's probably only I don't know, a mile away. Yeah, something. Anyway, he's right there.
It's his cousin.
It's my
his cousin Dan.
Yeah, it's my
that lives
cousin
there.
Dan. And
And he has a little almond orchard.
yeah, well, 40 acres. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty good size.
I don't know what a big almond orchard is.
It's almonds. Get it right, woman.
Almond orchard.
Almonds. They're almonds in the tree and they're almonds in the bag. So, all right, Joanna, thank you. We appreciate it. So again, we'll be back again Tuesday next week and Thursday, same time, same place. We sure appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Hopefully
Got
on
anything else?
Tuesday we'll have garden updates for you all. We're gonna try a few things.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great update. We'll be like, here's a garden. It's dead. Nothing grows in it. No. We just had we had 23% organic content in our soil
Matter.
on our test, and we had zero nitrogen. So.
Zero.
Not 0.01, 0. So it's definitely tied up. So we're gonna come back to you guys with some more of that stuff. Hopefully we can get the thing productive, and I know in time it will be a magical place and it will grow abundance of food. It's just getting it to that point. I didn't want to take 20 years for it to get there. I wanted it done in the first couple. So we're taking the sacrifice now, taking it on the chin, get the additions in there to hopefully start reaping the benefits sooner rather than later. So, all right, we really appreciate you guys, and we're gonna see you next week, same place, same time. That's it for us. I'm gonna walk around the back and kill this live stream. So, see y'all. Sure appreciate it.